Hitler has, as a recovering injured World War I trench soldier, been hired by a former trench comrade to be a police spy in one of the new radical organizations that have popped up around Munich, the German Workers' Party, founded by a guy named Anton Drexler. Now, this party consists of, and is soon renamed, the Nationalsozialist Deutscharbeiterspartei, the National Socialist German Workers' Party. Drexler is quickly displaced as Hitler becomes a rising star of this movement. As time goes on, he stops giving reports to the police, and he starts aspiring to a leadership role within the National Socialist Party, the NSDAP. In 1920, 1921, the early 20s in general, Hitler is rising up. He's organizing people, he is speaking, he's a good speaker. He's an effective speaker. He's the kind of speaker that can hold a crowd mesmerized. And this is a talent that will only grow with him. His ability to hold an audience, to interest people in what he's saying, to get them excited, to get them involved. Finally, a couple of years in, Hitler thinks that the party is ready. First of all, the party has attracted the interests of famous people. Former Chief of Staff of the High Command, Erich Ludendorff, becomes a member of the Nazi Party. He actually ran Germany during the last few years of the war. Hindenburg was the head of the High Command, but Hindenburg basically followed Ludendorff's advice, and the Kaiser followed Hindenburg's advice. So Ludendorff, in effect, ruled Germany. Ludendorff has joined with the Nazi Party. The flying ace who took over Baron Manfred von Richthofen's flying circus squadron, the Red Baron's heir, was a Prussian pilot and aristocrat named Hermann Goering. Hermann Goering was this dashing football player type, square-jawed hero of World War I, who's nationally known, and he has joined the Nazi Party. Hitler thinks that the time is ripe. His plan is to capture the government of Bavaria, proclaim a coup, a putsch, and to have the patriotic elements within Bavaria rally to him, and first Bavaria and then Germany, through a form of political revolution. So, at the Lowenbrau Keller, the Lowenbrau cellar in Munich, which is the beer hall where Nazi Party meetings often take place, Hitler famously fires his pistol into the ceiling. The bullet hole at least is still there. And he says to his party members, "We have been talking for years about what we are going to do when the day comes. The day has come. The time is now. We must go out and go to the police station at Munich. We'll cross the town, and our friends in the police will join us, and with their help, we will hold hostage those weak-willed Republican governors of Bavaria, and we will take real power, and Germany will be restored as Bavaria is restored." Now is the time. They actually get a hold of the leadership, several important people from the Bavarian government, and they're holding them captive. Hitler then leads a march from the Lowenbrau Keller, the Lowenbrau beer hall, all the way across town to the Munich police station. The police know about all this. Hitler was not the only police spy in the Nazi Party, and they're not going along with it. About halfway to the Munich Police Department, the Nazis are marching into a plaza, and the police are lined up on the other side of the plaza. And the police say, "Halt! You will disperse immediately." and return to your homes. This is an unlawful assemblage. Hitler and his men look at one another and they keep marching. They are convinced that the police will join them. At which point, fire! The police shoot into the Nazi crowd. Goering is injured. This injury is going to be the beginning of his profound, intense drug addiction. Ludendorff basically keeps walking forward, assuming that everyone knows who he is. He's, after all, in uniform, and nobody's going to shoot him, and nobody does. Ludendorff is taken into custody and forswears any connection to these bozos in the Nazi Party, saying that he didn't know what kind of idiots he was dealing with. He's done. He washes his hands, and he gets a little bit punished and moves on. Goering flees across the border to Switzerland to heal up. Hitler ends up being found a while later hiding out in a cellar, and he's arrested. The beer hall putsch is what it's called, is an embarrassing failure. But what Hitler fails to do in terms of his revolutionary plan, he achieves through the fame he gets as a result of his trial. Hitler's trial is presided over by friendly judges, by friendly forces. It is influenced and shaped, and bits of the trial are going to be broadcast on radio, live. And excerpts of the trial are going to be broadcast on radio. This is one of the first times that radio, which is a very new technology in the 1920s, is going to play a role in political affairs. And the judge allows Hitler to lead his own defense, to make his own defense. And Hitler uses this as an opportunity to say, I'm not on trial. The Weimar Republic is on trial. The traitors and cowards and Jews and socialists and communists who stabbed us in the back are on trial. The lily-livered old ladies of Weimar are on trial. I did what any patriotic German would do. I rose up and tried to take my country back. And if that's wrong, then I'm wrong. But I don't want to be right if that's wrong. In so many words, Hitler uses the trial as a springboard to greater and greater fame. Many more people hear him and they hear his message, and he seems to be a middle-of-the-road patriot at this point. I told you there were people friendly to Hitler involved in the process. So when Hitler is found guilty, because he's guilty, there's no question. When Hitler is found guilty with extenuating circumstances, remember it's Napoleonic Code justice, he is assigned to serve his time in Landsberg prison, where he is given a wonderful room with a view, and he gets to choose his roommate, and he chooses Rudolf Hess, who acts like his personal secretary and is one of the Nazi Party leadership. In fact, at Landsberg prison, there's an entire suite of rooms filled with Nazi leaders, all who were arrested during the beer hall putsch. So like gangsters in some corrupt prisons back east, who are allowed to live the high life behind bars, Hitler and his leaders are allowed to live together in isolation from the other prisoners, make their own meals, and what Hitler spends his time doing is dictating his struggle. Mein Kampf. His struggle, Mein Kampf, my struggle is what it means, is going to be written down by Hess. And it's going to be turned into a book, which is the Bible of the National Socialist German Workers' Party. Never let it be said that Hitler didn't tell the world what he was about. In Mein Kampf, he predicts pretty much everything he's going to do later. He talks about Lebensraum, living space, the Germans need to take from the White Russians, the Ukrainians, the Baltic peoples, the Poles, to turn those peoples into slave races and to expand Germany into this middle of Eurasia giant empire that is economically self-sufficient. That's autarky. He also talks about the Jews as being a parasitical race, subhuman, Untermenschen, a conspiracy that needs to be wiped out. And while he doesn't describe in detail his ultimate final solution to the Jewish question, it is clear that the Jews must be cut out of the society like a cancer must be cut out of a body if it has any hope of being healthy in the future. This is all set down and plenty more in Mein Kampf. Now, next time we'll talk about the dogma of the Nazi Party as it approaches power.